Thank you for joining another edition of Bumps and Thumps, the talk of wrestling. I'm your host, Brian Ferguson. Today, my guest was one of the hottest young stars of the mid-1980s. He is best known as one half of the tag team of the Top Guns with Ricky Rice in the AWA. He has worked in many of the independent promotions and has held many numerous singles and tag team titles. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my pleasure to introduce Mr. Derrick Starfire Dukes. Derrick, thank you for taking time out of your schedule to be on Bumps and Thumps.
No problem.
All right, so I got first question. How'd you get the name Starfire?
Let's see. It started back in wrestling camp, I believe. Well, it was kind of a copy of Tommy Wildfire Rich, but I believe, as I was coming out of camp, someone says, "You got a lot of fire, you might be a star." And so that's how I think it came up on. Might have been Eddie who threw that in there, Eddie Sharkey.
Eddie Sharkey, is that who trained you?
Yeah, he was. I went through his camp. The trainer that he used was Dan Rignotti. I don't know if you guys remember the Terminator Riggs and Crow. They're down in Memphis in Georgia. But Dan Rignotti was the trainer of me, but he was teaching for Eddie Sharkey's camp.
Okay.
So yeah.
Wow. I learned something new. I didn't know who you were trained by. Eddie Sharkey.
Yeah.
He's got quite a resume for training talent. There's no doubt about that.
Well, Brian, I also trained, we were running a lot of different camps. But I also trained with Brad Ringings too,
Okay.
a little bit. They were doing like joint camps. And I think, I believe Jim Mitchell had a camp. They're all different camps.
Yeah.
Back then, we go from one building to another when, well, the lease is up here, let's go to the next building, but that's how it works,
Yeah. Well, I want to tell you, I know we talked before we started here, but you look fantastic. You look muscle-wise, you look like the same guy you were 30 years ago. It's amazing.
Yeah, thank you, Brian. It's so nice, but you should see me walk.
Well, what I see right now is, you look great. And, I appreciate you coming on today.
No problem.
Let's talk about where you grew up at, your family life. What was that like for you? And how did you get involved in wrestling?
Well, I've told this story numerous of times. I was born in Boston, Massachusetts, and my brother, and then my mother and my father moved to Ohio. I think I might have been 3 or 4, and then they split up. So I grew up in Ohio. I moved to Minnesota when I was 19.
Okay.
One of my buddies I went to high school with played basketball at a college called Inver Hills, and he said, "There's a wrestling camp. Move to Minnesota." Well, how it all began when I wanted to be a wrestler, when I was a little kid, the neighbors down the street, they had a little farm. I lived on a canal, and I was friends with a guy named Charles. So my mother says, "Hey, why don't you invite him in to watch TV?" And you guys watch TV. Back then, you only had like 3, 4 channels,
Oh, yeah.
Brian.
Yeah, I remember.
So he turned out, it's very funny. I might have been 5 or maybe 6. And he said, "I got to show you something." He says, my sister dates one of these guys. You got to watch this this show with me here. And it was wrestling. And I started crying. And my mother told me, you have to watch what your company wants to watch, right? And so after about 15 minutes, I was staring at the TV, and he says, "Yeah." He says, I think his sister might have been married, or her boyfriend. His name was I guess his name was Bohemian Bull. He was a wrestler down in Ohio, And so after that, every time he would come over, then he said, "Yeah, there's another wrestling I'm going to show you." The first wrestling he showed me was championship wrestling out of Akron, Ohio. And I think Jack Reynolds was the Jack Reynolds was the commentator, and someone else, and they had Ernie Ladd, they had the Psycho, Abdullah the Butcher, tag team called Castillo Brothers, I believe, Johnny Powers, Bulldog Brower,
Okay.
and then he came over Saturday. Hey, here's big time wrestling. Then you would see the Sheik and Louis Martinez and Tony Marino, Eric the Red, Bolo and Gito, the Mongols. Oh man, I just love this. So they're right there. And I said, I want to be a wrestler. So that's how it started.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's pretty neat. Schooling, did you go to college? Nothing
Nope.
like that? No?
This is what, and it's better off that I did it this way.
Yeah.
After a while, well, my first thing I wanted to be when I was a kid was a construction worker when I was about 4. Because I used to watch the trucks, you know. Then I wanted, and when I was about 5, I wanted to be an actor. Then wrestling was what I wanted to be. But after a while, I'm going, well, I don't know if I'm gonna, you know. Back where I came from, I never saw something bothering me when I was a kid. I just talked about this to one of my friends I grew up with.
Mhm.
I kept thinking no one famous ever comes out of Ohio, you know. And so, and as I got older, I found out there's many people came out. Dean Martin, all kind of bands that I didn't know came out of Ohio. What's her name? The girl, Miss America. What's her name? I can't remember her name.
Yeah.
The black Vanessa Williams. I can't
Okay,
remember.
Vanessa Williams, yeah.
Yeah, but there was a bunch of people, and then I said, well, no one's famous going to come out of Ohio. So when I got to high school, I started into welding. So I was going to go to a college, a place called Columbus Tech.
Mm-hmm.
Columbus Technical Institute, so I could get my welding degree.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's when my friend Doug called me from Minnesota, because you know he had left year prior playing basketball up here. He goes, Derrick, there's a wrestling school up here. And you know what? It's fortunate that I got in then, because had I waited, because you know, after so I started in '86.
Yeah.
I think I was 20 years old. And after that, man, when I got in the territory, Vince started, you know,
Yes.
there were all the territory. I got in at the dive, but I was able to work different places, you know.
Yeah.
And so it was fortunate that I didn't get my welding degree.
Yes. It's funny you say welding, because I have 2 nephews that are welders, and it's odd because they went to trade school. They did it a few years ago themselves, and I just thought that was pretty interesting that you wanted to be a welder.
Yeah.
So that's pretty neat. So
if they go underwater, they'll make a lot of money, I guess.
yeah, well, they make good money now, and they don't do underwater, but they hop around a lot to different spots where, you know, because it's a pretty. I mean, you can go from one to the other, and they don't say anything. If you quit one place and go to the other, they don't blackball you, I guess is the term that they you know would use. So well, that's interesting. So travel experiences, you have any stories like when you went from one town to another with, I don't know, Ricky Rice, or, you know, I know you travel with some guys, probably Brad Ringens, Ken Patera, those guys, or?
Yeah. One thing, let me tell you my first match.
Okay, let's hear it.
So I was only in camp 3 weeks. And so Eddie Sharkey had started, it was Tony Condello had started a group called up in Canada called the NWA West Four Alliance.
Okay.
So Eddie goes, well, we need guys with cars. Well, Derrick's got a car, but he's probably ready already anyway, just to put him in a match. Because I learned faster than other guys because I've been watching it since I was a kid. They took it off though. When they took wrestling off TV in Ohio. So from when I got to sixth grade or fifth grade, I didn't see wrestling again until I got to ninth grade.
Oh,
So
wow.
yeah. So they had taken it off TV. But anyway, so they started a group up there in Canada, West
Mhm.
Forest. So I went there. Got in a car. We drove up to Winnipeg. We got to the border. One of the guys had I won't say had illegal at steroids. So they held us at the border 2 hours.
Oh, no.
Yeah, and so then they let us in. And when we got there to the place, it was running late, but
Yeah.
we still weren't late because it wasn't starting. So the people started coming in,
Yeah.
and I didn't have. Now remember, I'm just still in camp. I didn't have any attire, so I had to borrow some guy's attire, just for a squash match to get beat up on. And so I remember this. So Brian, so the night went on and on and on and on. And I looked up at the clock, it had to be like 1 a.m.
Oh, my
And
gosh.
we're still cutting tapes. And I laid down on a bench and I looked up at the ceiling and laid on a bench and said, God, please don't tell me this is what I wished for my whole life. And we finally left about 2 a.m.
Oh, wow.
It was, and then I had to drive all the way back to Minneapolis.
Oh,
Yeah,
oh, wow.
yeah. So we were, yeah. But after a while, after that, it got much better because Tony started booking more shows. So we stepped there like a week, and then one time we stepped there like 3 weeks.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, so it got much better. I don't know if the TV got better, but yeah. So Tony brought in like he brought in Bruiser Brody. That's the first time I met Frank. I brought him Cousin Junior came in. And then Bulldog Bob Brown came in. He tried to
Oh,
get me to
yeah.
come. He tried to Bulldog Bob Brown tried to get me to come to Kansas City because he said we needed a black guy. I go, Bob, I'm still just getting out of camp, and so I was didn't want to move. I already moved, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so yeah, and so then after a while, just he I believe he started bringing in different wrestlers, and he stopped using Tony stopped using Eddie guy, and he started using Jim Mitchell and like Rick Renslow, other Minnesota guys, Chris Markoff, Iron Duke, Buck Zumoff. So then, yeah, he started using those guys, and that was pretty much it. It was pretty much done then,
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Wow.
that was mine. And the thing about Ricky, I would tell you a story,
Sure.
is Ricky was high strung,
Mm-hmm.
and we'd be on the road and I'd have to pull over the side of the road. He'd see a cornfield of winter, he'd have to take off running, just running to get rid of, yeah.
Wow.
It was hard for him to sit,
Yeah. Yeah.
And years later, when I talked to Ricky, he had a gym at one time. He said, yeah, I was working at a dealership selling cars. And he said, I had my suit on, I'd have to run around the building a few times.
Oh, God.
He said, I'd come back. He said, they get mad because I'd come back all sweaty in my suit. But that's how he was. He was high strung, man. He really was.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you still talk to him at all? Or
No, last time I believe I spoke with him, I want to say it was 2008.
okay.
Yeah, that was, yeah, I heard he's doing some construction. I heard he had some operations to, hips, and which
Yeah.
we all do. I've had a couple. I need like 3 more, but
Yeah.
I'm gonna wait till I get to a little older. I don't want to
Yeah.
jump into it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I've talked to others, on interviews, and they tell me the surgeries they had on their shoulder, on their hips, on their knees or their back, and you were in the business, from the, I don't know, at least 10 years, I know, probably 15. I don't know how long you were there.
Yeah,
Uh, it takes a toll on your body, does it not? I mean,
yeah. I started in '86, and then when I came back from my second tour in Europe, I injured my back.
mhm.
Or so that been 90. I want to say 93. So I couldn't wrestle from 93 to I believe it was 98.
Oh, wow.
Maybe, and then sorry, yeah, 98 or something, 97. Then I did a tour in Japan in 99, and then I started doing shows for Kenny Patera in that time.
Okay.
So then Kenny stopped running shows. I think I want to say '03. Him and Adnan El Queso was doing shows for both, and I think it was '03.
Okay.
Yeah, and then I was pretty much done, and I had some trials with WWF, and I
Yeah.
had some tour in early '90s. I was in Australia, I had some tours there, and I took tour there, and I came back after I think '04. I came back in '08 to do a little wrestling, and I pretty much said I'm done. This I'm done. Yeah. So
Yeah.
I had a knee surgery, two shoulder surgery, and now they said the one they fixed, they have to take it out. They can't. It's re-injured. They have to put a new shoulder in.
Oh my
And,
gosh.
the other shoulder that I didn't let them do, they have to do the rotator on that one because I didn't get it done.
Yeah.
And then so it is what it is. I
It's a
just
rough, it's a rough
yeah,
business, Derrick. I mean, I'll tell you, a lot of my friends, because I was in the military before I retired about 6 years ago, and people were just surprised because I guess I don't look like the wrestling fan, I guess they would say. And I would
yeah,
get into it, and I get mad when people would say, "Oh, that's just fake." I mean, I'd say, you know what? You get in there for a couple minutes, you won't think it's fake because they get tossed around, and if they land
yeah,
wrong or something a little twist the wrong way, and you can get seriously injured.
yeah,
And it used to really upset me.
yeah,
I just tell them I always say, yes, it was predetermined. However, the beginning was okay, you do this, and the end, but in between until now, during the territory days, you you guys, if I'm right, if you guys determine the moves in between the
yeah,
beginning and the ending. Yeah.
yeah.
And that's a lost art now, from what I've been told. I
Yeah,
mean,
I heard that too. Brian, I'm gonna tell you something that got my attention. See, I always thought the ring was soft. And then when I used to go in high school, I used to go down and see Georgia Championship down
mhm,
there in Canton, Ohio.
mhm.
When that's when the Road Warriors started, and that Tommy Rich, Buzz Sawyer, Pez Wiley, Brett Sawyer, Young Blow was in there. All them guys, a spoiler, and Bundy. That's when Bundy was starting. And when I realized that ring isn't as soft as I thought it was. One time they had a match. It was the Road Warriors was against Bundy, Chris Bundy, and Brett Sawyer. And I
Okay.
started looking at the ring. I go, man, that ring isn't dipping in hardly at all with all that weight in the ring.
Yeah.
And that was my first one. That ring must not be as soft. And let me be the one to tell you, when I started wrestling camp, we started wrestling camp on a gymnastic floor,
Okay.
and they used one mat. So uh, I believe that's where I met Dorothy Hamill out there in St. Louis Park. But anyway, she was in there, and so that's how we learned to take a bump. And so we couldn't get in the ring until Eddie would run shows. But what Eddie did, uh, we got into the big ring once, and he told us to put some cushion in our heels because we are gonna have bruised heels, and he was right. So so the first time I hit that ring, man, I thought I was going to die. But it got worse. It got worse because Eddie wanted to make some money off these bar shows. We get inside because there was there was money to be made there. And so he cut the ring down further. And man, let me be the one to tell you, if you didn't take a bump right in that ring, you wouldn't get up.
Oh
It
man.
knocked the wind out of you. Yeah.
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 Oh, I can imagine. I mean, I went to a match this was a few years ago in Troy, Missouri, World League Wrestling, Harley Races promotion. His son runs it now. And Trevor Murdoch was the champion then. And this kid, I felt so bad for him. He was in there with him. I think it was his first or second match. And Murdoch, I mean, his chest, he slapped him so many times, was just beat red and welt. And the back, because he whipped him into the ropes so hard, the flesh on his back was literally like coming off.
Yeah.
And I just got the heebie-jeebies just looking at the guy. And I'm sure it was like that for you guys. I mean, I know you guys took I know you take a lot of bumps.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you had a lot of scars or marks from that.
Well, Brian, I tell you, a ring used to mess you up is sometimes they'd send me down to Kansas City to work with Geigel's promotion. And man, they had a ring and the ring had a cable wrapped with hose. Oh man, you'd hit the rope. You'd hit the ropes and go, holy moly, it hurt.
Yeah.
Man, you have welts all over your back.
Yeah.
Oh. So, it's funny you say, I remember wrestling, I don't know if you remember T-Joe Khan.
Yeah.
So I don't know how many days we're on the road. I said, T-Joe, you got to quit whacking me every night with so many chops because my chest is bleeding every night. But see, you first get in, they want to rib you, they want to, I said, okay, you want to play again. After a while, I started just hitting them so hard, pop, 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 pop. He finally stopped chopping, and that's how you do it. You want to play this game? I can play it too,
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't want to go a whole tour all hurt, beat up and hurt, You got to finish the tour.
Right. Yeah. Let's talk about some chemistry you had with people. Who was a person that you wrestled that you had the best chemistry with as far as in the ring? Like you guys just flowed like wine. Is there anybody?
Well, I'd say, people ask me that question. Funnest match I had with Colonel,
COL DeBeers.
He's so easy, but the best matches in my only opinion that I've ever had was with as Ricky and myself against Bad Company.
Yes.
But those guys, man, some of the places we worked at, some in Canada and other places, but it'd be those guys are the ones we burned the house down. But it wasn't us; it was them guiding us.
Yeah.
Because they would do a lot of their own bumps,
Yeah.
But I mean, man, some of the matches I had with those guys were so fun, and so entertaining, I'd say, but probably one of the most memorable was Colonel, because we did the same match over and over and over because we never repeated back to that town, So
yeah,
we did the same match over.
I want to talk to you about that in a minute because I watched some stuff last night. Actually, I watched Super Clash 3 with you, Ricky Rice, and Wendy Richter versus Bad Company and Medusa Michelli with Diamond Dallas.
Yeah.
That card I watched, I'm still watching it a little bit now, but that card to me is underappreciated, that Super Clash. They had a lot of great matches in there, including yours. And I just don't think it gets the credit it deserves out of Chicago. I mean, the who's who was on that card.
You know what, Brian? It's funny you say that. Well, I had a bad spot in the match with Pat. I missed a drop kick by 3 miles, but I didn't see that for years and years, because when we were done with our match, we were staying with Ricky's sister.
Mhm.
Her sister lived in downtown in there. So I didn't see any of the matches hardly. And so I got out of there and we went back to her. And I don't remember seeing a full tape probably until about maybe 6 years ago.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that many matches was on that card.
Yeah.
I don't remember seeing half of those guys.
Yeah.
I really don't.
Yeah. It's 2.5 hours. I'm still, before I come on here with you, I was still watching some because I haven't watched it in quite a few years.
Yeah.
And the more I watch it, I cannot believe that card doesn't get the recognition that it deserves. I mean, it's like one of the WrestleManias of back in that era. I mean,
Right.
it is full of talent, a lot of great matches, great talent, and I just I don't think sometimes the AWA with their big cards get the recognition that they deserve to have. So, but you guys did great on that.
I tell you no story, Brian.
Sure.
So we're in the back, right? So I turned to the left, and here comes Kerry Von Erich, and he's got his daughter. They got this big fur, look like the Donald Snowman coats, knowing they probably never want to use it again.
Yeah.
So I go in the dressing room, and it's after a match. And Kerry's got his, I don't know if this is his daughter that's wrestling now. I don't know. I go, Kerry, take your daughter, drop her over at Medusa's, Wendy's room. Just walking around here, taking a shower with her stuff hanging out. You know what Kerry told me? He goes, Derrick, she's going to eventually see it anyhow.
Oh my God.
I said she's about 3 years old.
Oh.
I wrapped the towel around the towel. Come on, Kerry.
Yeah.
Man,
That's
that
yeah.
was probably the funniest thing that happened on that card there.
On that card, yeah. Talk about your chemistry with Ricky Rice. You guys, I mean, were on fire for a while. How was your relationship? Was it good? I mean, outside the ring, were you guys pretty tight?
Yeah. Well, there was some issues. Ricky and I started back in the Eddie Sharkey's PWA.
Mm-hmm.
And so we were the original Top Guns, but there was always a little animosity between John Paul and me because of Ricky, but we were the originals, and John Paul and Ricky grew up together.
Yeah.
So John figured me as an outsider, but he was my buddy too,
Yeah.
And we rolled together and stuff. But Rick, we landed together by mistake in the PWA because Rick was a tag team with a guy named Ace Brandon. Now, Ace Brandon, they were called the High Rolls. His original partner was Al West, who went to the AWA, then went down to Memphis. Very good looking guy. And then he left the business. But so one night, Ace Brandon and Ricky was wrestling, and then Ace Brandon got into a heated argument with Eddie Sharkey, and Eddie fired him. And so I was still working first matches. And so he said, well, put Derrick in there with Ricky. And I believe, I think, first I thought, Eddie is the one that gave us the name. I don't know if he got it off of my friend who's dead now, Larry Cameron. He used to wear a Top Gun on his hat that he had from the stockyards. I don't know if Eddie looked at his hat or was thinking of the movie, but
Yeah.
Eddie is the one that gave us the name. So that we started that in '87.
Yeah.
And so then, 87. So that's where that started. But yeah, we had a lot of trips together, and we had a beef for a little bit. I started working with different groups, and I was getting hurt, and so when I came back to wrestle him, I was kind of stiff, and and he told our buddy, Duke's been working on the groups. He's getting stiff, I don't know if I want to work with him because we had a battle against each other. Ricky had turned to be a thing called the Ricky the Prophet Rice. So we had a thing going. Yeah, so we had a thing going battle here in Minnesota up, and they had a new promotion, and Dale Gagner started, and so we had a battle. Well, I mean, we talked it over, and it was funny. Years later, we were doing work for WWF for 98, 99, get a tryout or whatever, or just using TV matches. And we hadn't talked, and man, I made we always would listen to, I had made these cassettes on these mellow cassettes. So I made it, I said, Ricky, I made a new cassette for us because we haven't been together on the road in so long.
Yeah.
Brian, we did not put the cassette in. We talked all the way down to, I can't figure out if we started in Chicago or we had 3 shots. We in somewhere in Wisconsin, then up to Iowa, then Kansas City. I don't know, but we had so much time gap that went between us. We just talked the whole time. We never put the cassette in. Wow. And when he drove me back home, I go, Rick, you realize we never listened to cassette? He says, I know, Derrick. We ain't seen each other in many years. Yeah.
That's wild. Yeah, I mean, catching up, it takes time. So that's good. I'm glad you guys, got it worked out. And all right. I want to talk about your famous match with
Which one was that?
The Colonel. So I saw something last night that I know today would totally be a no-no.
Yeah.
That was an interview with Larry Nelson with the Colonel first. When you guys were going to match up, this is probably 88, 87, 88. I don't remember now, but
I think it was 89.
Okay, 89. Okay.
Yeah.
And Colonel says, I'll wrestle him for $2,500 or something like that. And he says, another stipulation is I paint him white.
Yeah.
And then Larry Nelson came to you.
Yeah.
Told you, and you very surprised about it first. And you said, you know what, I'll do it. But if I win, I paint him black.
Yeah.
And that caused I'm sure that caused, I don't really remember that. I think I would have, but I must have not never seen that because that's something I would have remembered.
Yeah, first of all, my era was terrible because Vern wanted me to do it a certain way. And I did it that way. But when I looked, I go, wow, it looked unnatural. I should have done, but he's the boss. And that's the way I did it, And so, okay. And I didn't realize how much flack was going to happen until I got a call. I got a call one night, and I don't know how they got my number because my phone was under my roommate's number, but they got my number. And someone from ESPN says, Derrick, if you guys keep this up, you got to soften this. We can't show you on TV anymore. And I don't know if they called Colonel first. But then Colonel called me, I believe, and says, well, maybe we'll just soften up on the interviews. I don't even know if I've ever did soften up. I don't know. It just, you couldn't do that nowadays, No.
Did that bother you? Did that bother you? I mean, when they asked you to do that, did you say, or were you like, okay, yeah, because.
Well, Howard, I tell you what bothered me worse than that was I used to do imitations of Cosgrove, Iron Sheik. And so we'd laugh about, we do his imitation, we just goof around because we love Sheik.
Yeah.
And Greg saw me doing it. And then one day he comes up to me and he goes, we're going to have you do your gimmick on TV against the Sheik. I go, huh? And he got mad. I go, what? Are you serious? You want me to mimic? So and he got pissed at me because Greg got a temper at times, Well, I said, okay, but I said, are you serious? I don't want to make fun of the guy, And so they put together, it was going to be the Top Guns against Adnan and Iron Sheik.
Yeah.
But we're doing interviews. We got these turbans on our head and all that, and we're saying stuff that's racial.
Yeah.
And you know what? Out of doing all that promotion, we never wrestled them one time.
Oh wow.
That bothered me more than the paint you black stuff because I don't know. I guess I'm not making fun of I'm not making fun of another race,
Yeah.
But we were saying, Rick and I were saying things, and I don't want to repeat now that, man, that's bad stuff for us, and it's on TV.
Yeah.
We're calling them all kind of names that's,
Yeah.
that bothered me more than that, to be honest with you.
Okay. Well, yeah, I mean, a different time era, that was, over 30 years ago.
Yeah.
I mean, and yeah, I mean, a lot of things back then aren't, good now.
Yeah. Now we're overly sensitive.
Yes.
Everyone's looking to be offended about everything now. Boy.
I'm glad you said it. I didn't. But I agree with you 100%. It's getting crazy.
Brian, it's embarrassing. We've turned a bunch of spineless people is what we've turned into.
Yeah.
That is part of all this crying and whining about bullying. That's part of growing up. That's how you get tougher.
Yeah.
I mean, when I was a kid, I'm from a small little farm town. You fought, if you didn't win, you might come back and try to fight the guy next day.
Yeah.
After that, you're buddies again.
Mm.
Now they're bullied behind a computer. How much weaker can you get?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
I'm with you. I grew up in a small town in Wisconsin, so I understand in the 80s. So I'm with you, Derrick. I'm with you, my friend.
Sad.
So, but you did have some matches with DeBeers, and one that was supposedly not aired, but I guess was, from what you told me offline, is that the painted loser gets painted yellow match. Can you kind of go through that with me a little bit, how that kind of went down?
No, it's not yellow. See, so what happened was it's the same match. I forgot. I could remember some of the match running in it, but what happens is I beat him up.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, he pulls out a brass knuckle.
Okay.
The ref can't see it, so he knocks me out. So he goes to get the paint. But as he's coming to get the paint, as he's coming to paint me, Jammer comes down in the ring. If I can remember, Jammer comes out and knocks on it, and we put paint on him.
Okay.
But not a lot. See, what happened was Greg and those guys made me go get the paint. So I went and got the paint over there, and he got the free hats with it. I told him I wear it on TV I forgot it was Sherman Williams. I can't remember.
Yeah.
So anyway, the first match screwed up because he said we didn't water it down enough, so it ruined some of the clothes. So we want to ask for more money for clothing,
Yeah.
So the next time the Colonel says water more, we got to use more water, so so it comes out. The only time that the paint got on me, and I'm convinced that someone told Jammer because the buildup was for Rochester, Minnesota, right? And so this time Jammer gets to the ring a little bit late, right? So Colonel has to put paint on me because he's not in the ring. And so Colonel went to put paint on me, and I'm convinced someone told Jammer, no, let him get a little paint on him. And so then Colonel flips the brush. So I I got to get the crowd back because they want to see me put paint on them. So when he flips the brush and knowing it's easy to, so he flips the brush, but instead of me picking up the black brush, I picked up the white brush.
Oh.
So when I put the paint on Colonel, it was white, and so he goes back and he goes back and cuts a promo that they can't say on the air, and Colonel goes, "I told you those people are dumb. You know what? He used the wrong brush. He just diving around."
Yeah.
I remember Tom Zink goes, "Derrick, now he know that's easy, dude. He probably flipped his brush closer to you." I said, "Who cares? The match is over now." That's the only time I got paint on me. Now, yeah, it got messy, but
Yeah.
it was fun working with Colonel. It really was.
I was gonna say you had a good relation. I mean, you had a lot of great matches. I mean, he even when he was doing that kind of thing with Jimmy Snuka before you,
Yeah.
I mean, I'll be honest. I mean, when I thought it was, they really hated each other and stuff. I mean, I couldn't stand COL DeBeers. I thought he was the biggest, one of the biggest jerks in the world. But those were great matches that you guys
I had
had.
another match, Brian. I had another match with him, and I can't remember. I know it was out east. It was out east, and it was the only time we did a different match. And Colonel was sick, I believe. I can't. Couldn't have been a paint match. Anyway, he came to me alive as a kid. You're gonna go through a match you probably never been through before. I don't feel so well. Okay, he said, just follow me. Don't let the crowd take you out. Don't let the crowd dictate what I'm gonna do. I said, okay. So we get in the ring, and I believe he had me in the head scissors, and I actually fell asleep.
Really?
He had me in the head scissors so long, and he wouldn't let me start tapping the pieces. Then he'll tell me, okay, start working the people, okay.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking about this match, and I believe this match went on for 20 something minutes. And I think the comeback of me was somehow I reversed it on him, and the crowd came unglued. I'd never been in a match like that.
Yeah.
Because we were doing nothing the whole match.
Yeah.
And he finally pulled that thing like he did with Kerry in Las Vegas, where he got out of the ring, right, and asked people to pay money. I don't know if you heard of that gimmick. And he did that, and they made them give the money back to charity. Yeah, well, he did that out there too, and people were coming up with money. Yeah, same thing. But then I finally got him, and I think he took one bump and got out of there. But that was a classic match. He's right. I'd never been in a match like that.
That's a good one. I mean, falling asleep. I've never heard that one before.
Yeah, we're gonna do anything. I'm just waiting for him to tap me. What the hell?
Something, right? Wow. So. Let me ask you this: you worked in the AWA.
Yeah.
You've worked in other promotions or territories.
Yeah.
What is your comparison from the AWA to the others? Where was the AWA the one you got the most pop?
Yeah. Well, recognition. Yeah, people know me. The person who helped get me in there was Rob Russin. He just passed. Rob Russin was AWA booker, and he got me in there. He's the one that sent me over to Europe. My first tour with. We went over there. It was called Superstars of Wrestling, and we had Zink, Tom Zink, Afa, Wendy Richter, Bambi. Kamala pulled out.
Oh, that would have been good.
And I'm missing. Luna. Luna was on there. Ricky pulled out too because he was in AWA, and AWA told him that no, we'll be going to Europe next month. So a guy named Johnny Love took his spot, and so we were the Top Guns. Like I said, Damian Kane, Bambi, what's the farmer's daughter?
Yeah, I'm trying to think. I know what you're talking about.
Not the shorter one, the blonde. I can't remember.
Brandy May.
Brandy May. Brandy May was there.
Yeah.
Who am I missing? I missed somebody. My brain is gone. I forgot. I missed, but it was a fun tour. But what happened was, before I left for the tour, Rob had me do an interview with Vern and Greg.
Okay.
So that's before I went on a tour. That I says, okay, thank you and all that. Okay. And they asked me, I believe one of the questions they asked me was, why did you come to Minnesota? Why did you want to work here? I said, well, because I don't see any black wrestlers hardly here. I said that, in the interview.
Yeah.
And then I left. And so I did the tour. So I don't know how many weeks we were there. And we were moving around so many places, Amsterdam, Switzerland, Italy, Denmark, Austria. I'm missing some places. So wow. I get back home, right? And so I said, oh man, I'll be glad to go ride my motorcycle. So I had a little, I'm gonna put me some new stereo on my motorcycle, and I'm getting all ready. And I only been home. Oh, maybe came home, took a nap. I'd have been home like 8 hours, and my roommate comes running out, goes, "Hey, Derrick, they just said someone says you got to go back and get on the plane." "Oh, get on the plane for what?" I said, "I just got home." And when I got inside, it was Rob called me saying the AWA wants you to fly into Vegas because see, the Rockers had quit.
Yeah.
So they were going to put Ricky. So they put Ricky and me together.
Mm-hmm.
They had 2 tapes, but then Greg told that, well, he's too green. Derrick's too green. So they brought in John Paul.
Okay.
So they became the new Top Guns.
Yeah.
So that's how that came about. And then I just was working single matches, with whoever they sent me, Yeah, so that's how that. I don't know, Brian, did I answer your question? I don't even know.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, you said you got most of your recognition in the AWA, and I know you were in some other promotions and you got some championships, but.
So IWA was started by Rob, who left the AWA. Rob also worked in WCW too.
Okay.
But he started IWA, and IWA was 1990. So he had stuff. So he had Midwest America Sports Channel, then Sports Channel America. We're on that. And so we were doing the East. We were doing all East Coast, and then we were doing Florida. And like I said, we did Australia.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, we went all over. I want to say California, or was that for a different group? I can't remember. Is that another group? I don't know. I can't remember. Maybe it wasn't California. Maybe that was another group.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I have always heard Vern paid well when guys in the AWA. Was that true for your case, or were you paid adequately?
Say again.
That's what I'm just telling you what I've been told, that by other guys that worked there, that he paid well, but
let me say this, Brian, and people out there understand this. For people like us, such as green people like us, we were paid what we should have been paid because we were green. You understand?
Okay.
So that's where the discrepancy comes in this business about not making money. With some of you are green, that's what you should be getting paid.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we just, the crowd, you got to realize it was deteriorating. It wasn't. The thing that irritates me about this whole thing, they talk about how the AWA disintegrated. Well, so did every place else.
Mm-hmm.
Vince went in and took all the time. That's what he did. And so that bothered me when everyone says that. But and like I said, as far as the pay, that's you get paid. We were agreeing. That's what you
Yeah.
get paid. You're playing,
Yeah.
you know.
Did they ever offer you and Ricky the tag team titles? I know you did a lot of matches with Bad Company.
Yeah.
Did they ever say, "Hey, we want to put the straps on you"?
No, and after a while, I figured out what was happening. Well, I don't know if they were given to us anyway, but we had won straps many occasions, and then we get back Monday and we reverse the decision, whatever. But they
Yeah.
were Wahoo was one of our bosses. Wahoo, Ray Stevens, Ray was the bottom boss in Wahoo, then Greg and Vern. They were upset with Ricky, see, and they were going to get rid of Ricky, and I didn't understand. Then I found out was what I was told, because he wouldn't change the flat tire, and so this is what I was told. Now, they had a flat tire. Wahoo was driving. Wahoo, when he drives, always pays for everything. Whoops.
That's okay.
Sorry, guys.
That's okay.
So Wahoo pays for everything. That's how it was. That's Wahoo was. And he got a flat tire. Ricky refused to go out and change it. That was the beginning of the end. And Ricky came to me years later and said, "Derrick, that was stupid. I should have changed that tire." I said, "Yeah, especially when Wahoo won't let you pay for anything."
Yeah.
I said, "I wish I was, and I would have ran out there to fix the tire, But that was pretty much that's what I heard. That was the beginning of the end.
Yeah.
I'm going, "Are they serious? They're gonna fire him?" And then they started putting me with Jammer, but and plus Ricky was continuously going back to school. See?
Yeah.
And so he wasn't going to hang around much longer. He was in and out.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I don't know if there ever was, and I don't know.
Yeah. No, that's all right. I mean, no,
every time we did win, when we come back off the road, we hand them back to Monday, and we got reversed because of something,
yeah.
something. Yeah.
That's too bad. I would have liked to have seen you guys at least have it for a little while, a month or something, because I thought you guys were a great tag team. I mean, you were young, I'm only a few years younger than you, and I really enjoyed you guys. And I want to ask you two more questions.
Sure.
All right. So do you watch wrestling today?
No.
Okay. So, but what is your opinion of wrestling today that you've watched up to the point and when you were in it?
I kept hearing things about wrestling on Facebook. I've listened to Animal was talking about stuff, and other wrestlers. Animal's dead now, but
yes,
we're talking about how bad it is. And so one year, I want to say maybe it was 6 years ago, 7 years ago, maybe sooner. I was flicking to the channel, and there was WWE now, and I was confused. I was confused at what was going on, and I go, what? Now I know what they're talking about. I don't know what's going on here. Who's the heel? What's going on? So I turned it off.
Yeah.
And then when I go to the gym, they always show the promos of what's the new wrestling where they're going to kill themselves.
You talking about like hardcore and all that, or are you talking about?
It comes on Wednesday nights.
AEW. Man,
they'll be crippled by the time they're 30.
Yeah.
Well, I'm just seeing the highlights, so I don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
So it looks a lot of dangerous stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, we did some dangerous stuff too, and Brian, I think back here because people ask me questions. And I don't mean to offend people, so I don't want none of the guys get offended if they hear this. I think the reason why Ricky and I got busted up and we weren't in the business as long as a lot of those guys, because our gimmick was a rock and roll gimmick, like the all them guys.
Yeah.
Ricky and I were much well, I should say, we were bigger. So we're like 6'1.5", and we're doing the same moves. And I think that, and we didn't work as long as those guys did. And I think that's why we were tore up faster.
Yeah.
Because we were doing impact moves at 6'1.5", jumping off the top rope and doing that stuff. We were like 235, 240. I think that's why we disintegrated faster.
Yeah.
You know, because a lot of the rock and roll guys are smaller, you know.
Yeah.
Not that it don't hurt them either. I'm not trying to say that. But,
Yeah, no, I know. Yeah.
the more weight that that you're throwing around,
Yeah.
Recklessly,
Yeah. I tell you, for me too, it's more scripted now.
Yeah.
And, I believe, in my opinion, back in your day when you guys did it, like I said, the booker told you, hey, this is how it's going to end.
Yeah.
Start the match this way. You guys figure it out until the end, whenever the move is or whatever you're going to do. And now it's laid out, like spoon fed almost. And I hate to use that term. Spoon fed. Okay, you do this at this point, whatever, blah, 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 blah. And it doesn't look as genuine, I guess is the word I want to use, that it used to be. It is sports entertainment. It's not wrestling to me. And that's why I like reaching out to stars like yourself from back in the era that I grew up in, because people need to know and hear. You guys paved the way, honestly, for the stars of today. It's your hard work, sweat, blood, tears, pain, that these guys are making millions of dollars a year, when you guys were making thousands of dollars. And I want to tell you that I appreciate all you've contributed. So
thanks, Brian.
Yeah, hey, you bet.
I'm gonna tell you something else. When I remember having the trials with WWF, and I remember I was sitting in there and I turned around and looked at what's the big black dude named Viscera? He was Mabel or whatever those.
Oh yeah.
Dead now.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about. Yeah, Mabel. I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, and he had a sheet of paper. And I said, "Hey, what are you guys reading here?" He's going, our interview script. I go, "What?" I said, "You know how I used to do an interview? I go find me a corner in the back office or stage, or even in the bathroom, and I think about, and I just turn myself in a circle and figure out what I'm going to say. Kind of go in front of the mirror, and sometimes not go in front of the mirror. Just go in a circle and say, I'm going to say this. I have to listen to what they're saying about me first,
Right.
And then I have to respond. But that's how you did it.
Yeah.
Wahoo said something to me one time, because sometimes we'd be shooting a promo and a big glitch or something. They have to start the interview over. Joe, we call him Polish Joe, but he was the guy that did the technical part. And so if something messed up, he'd rewind the tape back, see, instead of keep going.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so Wahoo says, Joe, that's how Wahoo would talk. Every time we got to start over, we lose something on our interview every time. And he's right about that.
Yeah.
The more you lose the steam,
Yeah.
But I heard that from Wahoo. He's right. Yeah, you got to keep doing a cut, go back. You lose something on it every time. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. All right. One more question. Sure. What are you doing now, sir?
Oh, I'm just the old man.
You're not that old, Derrick.
I'm 56 years old now, and I drive for a living, deliver electrical parts, and I still go to the gym.
I can see that.
I go there and pretty much nothing else. I'm doing an event coming up that was postponed last year. It was postponed due to COVID, so it's down there in North Carolina.
Okay.
So yeah, I'm going to do a thing there, which I'm honored that they asked me. To be honest with you.
It's great.
So I'll do that. It's Saturday, the July 24th. So
Okay.
yeah, I'll go there and maybe run into. I haven't seen Bischoff for years. Maybe I think he's supposed to be there. I don't know who else.
How did you get along with Eric?
I was with Eric when Eric was in AWA. Eric was first the cameraman.
Yeah.
And then Larry Nelson, something happened and he left town. And
I heard.
Well, he had some trouble, but then Eric became the interviewer. Yeah. And so yeah, I last time I think I saw Eric was was back in the 90s. I went up. They were in town, and so I went and I saw him, and I ran it out with Fit Finley, who I wrestled with over in Europe for Ottawa. So he was there. I would speak with him, and I think it was '98. I can't remember.
Oh wow. Well, you'll probably see a lot of people you haven't seen in a while, so that'll be a good little reunion for you guys.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Derrick, thank you so much for coming on today. I really appreciate it.
No problem. It was fun.
I know it was fun. I really enjoyed it. And I want to thank everybody out there for listening, and watch for our next podcast on Bumps and Thumps. Thank you.